conflict zone in the Bucha district near Kyiv. Russian forces opened fire on a car with civilians. 2 were killed, including a 17-year-old girl, and 4 others were injured. So that's what's happening, where the civilian casualties are also racking up amid that entire offensive by Putin's war machine. And now what we are getting is that civilians are also dying in that crossfire between Ukrainian forces and Russia. Now let's get you an overview of the entire end game of Vladimir Putin. We're joined by our guests on the broadcast to decode and analyze what's happening in Ukraine, the wider geopolitical paradigm, as well as Putin's end game in Europe. I'm joined by both our guests, retired Lieutenant General KJ Singh and Ambassador Jitendra Nath Mishra on the broadcast. General Singh, thank you for joining us on the broadcast this afternoon. My main question to you is, when it comes to this entire offensive by Vladimir Putin, now, even though the power differential is very stark between Ukraine and Russia, what is the challenge when it comes to holding those key cities and maintaining control? What is the big challenge for Putin's war machine there?
Ayushman, thank you for having me on your show. The challenge is multifarious. Firstly, to get hold of the key communication centers, which signify control over a country, is in itself a very complex process. You have to define what parts of the city. There are certain iconic buildings in city, like Parliament and the Presidential Palace kind of buildings. There are communication centers. And also in countries like this, the power generating is also an important facet, because you need to keep the essential facilities running. You have to provide heating. So you have to firstly define what you want to control. That in itself is a challenge. And then to capture or to take over a city like Kyiv, last time it was done, it took 50 days. So it's not going to be easy. And then to hold on to it, that's even bigger challenge, because resistance forces have been armed with anti-tank and other kind of platforms. Enough amount of, and that's where the big danger is also there, because these people are not so well trained on use of these arms. And I am particularly disturbed at the fact that yesterday we heard the news of fall of a nuclear power station into the hands of Russians. And today we hear that Ukrainians have taken it back. So if this kind of seesaw battle is raging next to a nuclear power station, it is fraught with danger. Missiles do not always follow targeting. They tend to go astray sometimes. Some people are desperate also. So really, Ayushman, I cannot give you too much of clarity. It's a very complex process, very difficult one. And if I was helping Russians in deciding, see, in any operation, there are 3 things. There is ends.
General Singh, I'm sorry to interrupt.